All right, Warriors, Patriots, and Preppers. Times are changing. Times are changing. Times are changing. And it's happening quick. It's happening fast. The Obama administration, like I told you they would, they're using the greatest weapon out there right now, the power of the pen. Signing so many executive orders that it'll make your head spin. How he possibly read and went through all these executive orders is to be marveled at. Because there's no way he did. He even said he did. If you saw the little press conference thing, he said, "What am I signing?" And then proceeded to sign it anyways. So it's a matter of legislative agenda that's being pushed to people, or pushed to him from his people around him. So it has nothing to do with like a consensus or unity or anything like that. They're actually going to do the complete opposite by governing the way they're governing. Long run, that might be a good thing. But in the short term, it's going to be a bad thing. And we're going to have to make a lot of adjustments as the times change. Now, one of the biggest things that they have out there and they're pushing, and you've heard it, I've shared it, I know you have, the Great Reset. Okay? There is the literal playbook by Klaus Schwab. You can go watch the interviews, you can watch the long-term forums, or you can read the book. It's probably going to take me a good week to read this, maybe two, depending on how quick I flow through it. I have watched a lot of the interviews of myself. I know what the general outline of the plan is, but we can't be like the left where we don't really know what we're talking about. Where we warn people about the Great Reset, but then we never read it. We warn people about the Great Reset, but we've only seen clips and bits and pieces of it. It's not how true intellectuals process stuff. You need to go to the source material, read it yourself, and develop an opinion from there. Now, Klaus Schwab runs the World Economic Forum. As part of my daily habit is to go onto their website, kind of read what they have going on, what they're pushing, and what they're doing. Times are changing. They're going to be changing very quick and very fast, and the more that we are on top of it, the better we can change our preps, the better that we can adjust our financial lives, the better we can prepare ourselves for things to come. The information is key. They put this information out there for their people, for their well-informed, well-educated people to adjust and plan their lives. And you have to do the same. If you want to be a well-informed, well-educated citizenry that's going to actually be able to push back against these globalist agendas, you have to be intellectually smart and you have to be informed. And the only way you can do it is by self-teaching yourself the stuff that they're doing, the stuff that they're reading. They put it all out there. Is it the most exciting things to watch? Is it the most interesting books to read? No, it's not meant to be. It's not meant to be. That's part of how they get the population to disengage. Is it going to be a whole lot funner to sit around and watch a Super Bowl versus read this book? Of course. That's the bread and the circus. That's what it's there for. So you have to be smart enough to break away from that and educate yourself accordingly. Now, one of the big things that you watch these press conferences, they're talking about coming for libertarians, people on the right, people who don't want to get in line with the administration's goal. Their idea of unity is you unifying with them, not them unifying with you, or better, everybody just kind of unifying together and finding some sort of middle ground. The unity to them is you agreeing with them. That's unity to them. They're not using the same words and they don't mean the same things that a normal person would mean or say when they say the things that they say. So, with that being said, it's very important that we maybe focus on OPSEC a little bit. Don't talk about it at work. Don't talk about your prepping at work. Maybe be very selective. Like my prepping YouTube and my prepping Facebook and my prepping Instagram, there are very, very few people who I actually know who follow me on there. And that's by design. That's part of my OPSEC. I want to get this information out there and I want to help as many as people as I can, and I want to get people thinking about what they need to do to better prepare themselves. And sometimes that message is easier to give to people who we're not immediate influences on. because, you know, they've known us our whole lives. They've seen us go and change, and, you know, your credibility with them might be a little shaken, or they might not want to admit that you're right. I find that that's the problem more often than not, is people just don't want to say, you know what, man, you're right. Some of my friends do. Some of my friends eventually come along, but for the most part, it's just oh, you seem crazy. Because the media is indoctrinating them to make it seem crazy, to want to be prepared for so long. But obviously 2020 helped change that tide. 2021 is helping to continue to change that tide. But the whole thing is, times are changing. There's a lot of information out there that you should be aware of. You know, can I personally do anything to affect this or change this? No. Can I personally learn about it, study about it, and figure out what I need to adjust so I'm not as affected by it? Yes, I can, and that's what I need to do. So I encourage you guys to be true intellectuals, true preppers. Prepping is a lifestyle. Part of that lifestyle is gathering the information that you need to be informed. So, you know, we talk about storing the food, we talk about doing the fitness, we talk about building the relationships, we talk about the outdoor survival skills, but one of those prepping basic things that we don't talk about enough is the education and really getting yourself quite informed on the situation in the world around you. There's a lot that needs to be done and needs to be learned about if you really, really want to survive and if you really, really want to thrive. You know, it's the best of times, kind of in the worst of times right now, right? But if you can't thrive now, you're not going to thrive when it hits the fan. If you can't figure it out now, when we have a plentiful amount of resources available to us, you're going to be hard-pressed to do it when there's a lack of resources, when there's a lack of information. So do the work, stay prepared.